guys, new week of astrology. Let's get into it. This week, once again, we are being introduced to the week in some big time powerful astrology playing out. We, of course, are coming out of a rare and powerful double full moon in Capricorn that we had occur on Sunday the 21st. We open our week this week on Monday the 22nd. That was the second of two full moons in Capricorn that have played out between June and July that were representing a very climactic, energetic time of our entire 2024 year this year, where there was going to be some tension building. There were going to be some sudden unexpected events, and those sudden unexpected events were going to be some type of catalyst of change and transformation moving forward. Well, now we are at the point of time where we are in that moving forward energy, and powerful transformations and powerful confrontations and powerful information functioning as a catalyst for both of those are really the features of our energetic blueprint as it plays out this week. We have some powerful vibes coming through. Of course, we are still in our full moon phase, full moon energy, climactic energy going on right now, energy levels sky high as we are opening our week this week. The moon transits the sign of Aquarius. We also have our once yearly opposition playing out between the sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius and Leo. We also have Mars forming both a trine and sextile to those planets in their opposition, driving things forward. And we got Mercury and Uranus in a square out there as well. I'm telling you guys, there could really be some unsettling or shocking or unexpected news or information that is causing people to do things, to make changes, to drive things forward. We're talking about Martian energy, Mars energy fueling the opposition between the sun and Pluto today. So obviously we've got a lot of astrology to talk about, you guys. Let's get into our report of the day, opening our week this week, what's going on up there and how might it be implicating our experiences down here as we head through our week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, July 22nd, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me till the end of the report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So that'll be at the end. We're going to start at the beginning with the astrology, and it's probably going to be a weird week. Strange times, strange days are the days that we are in, my friends. We are at just a super powerful point of transformation, and we've been talking about it. I'm just gonna do a little flashback really quick, summarize where we've been over the course of the past month or so, bringing us to where we're at now. Remember, we had a full moon in Capricorn that took place at 1 degree of the signs of Capricorn and Cancer in association with our summer solstice last month at the end of June. I was talking about how the way that chart was setting up looked to me as though we were standing on the precipice of some type of significant turning point. And I felt like as we proceeded forth over the course of the next 4 weeks from full moon to full moon, which we had 2 full moon in Capricorns play out because the first one happened at 1 degree. The last one happened at 29 degrees. That is the energy that we are still in and coming out of now of the second of 2 full moon in Capricorns that happened between June 21st with the solstice and July 21st, the energy of yesterday. 2 full moons in Capricorn, one at 1 degree and one at 29 degrees. And right in between those 2 full moons, the first one, like I said, the way that chart was setting up, it looked like we were standing at a very clear precipice heading towards a transition point. In between those 2 full moons, we had that Mars-Uranus conjunction that happened with the fixed star Algol that was calling for some type of unexpected but significant event that was going to function as a pretty serious catalyst of change that would cause some major transformation and some major things to start driving these changes forward, making progress in certain ways, moving forward, following that second Capricorn full moon, which I was seeing as sort of like the point when the tension that had been building from that first full moon in Capricorn all the way to like the peak point with that Mars-Uranus alignment, and then still kind of like maintaining that peak through the second full moon in Capricorn. I see the energy that we are in right now, and especially as we move through the week, head more towards the weekend, is kind of like the release valve to an extent in terms of the pressure, the emotional tension that had been building throughout this past month period of time. So that's where we've been, that's where we've been going. This is where we've arrived now, and now we are at the point of time where we are still in this peaked intensity as a result of being in that full moon energy. And that second full moon that we just had, the second full moon in the sign of Capricorn, if you guys watched my video, I was talking about how this, to me, this energy was kind of like finalizing the notion that things were really going to be transforming and changing going forward. It was in a conjunction to Pluto. This is speaking of major transformation. There was a Mercury-Uranus square. There was a trine to Neptune retrograde at 29 degrees. I don't want to get into reiterating about all of the full moon energy that we just had, because I literally just put an hour-long video out specifically about that. So, you know, if you want to know all the specifics of that energy and my perception and how that is playing into what I'm talking about in the energy of this week, that is the last video that I posted. But in terms of, you know, where we're at now, we have come through this process of being at the point, the crossroads, right? And then we have gone through whatever has transpired that has been that like significant event or sudden change or unexpected occurrence that really like is in the process of changing things. And then we had this full moon, this peak energy level that we had yesterday that was also talking about being at the point of no return in the context of the changes that are on the precipice, or that were indicated as being on the precipice of like about to happen. And now as we move through this week with the energy, especially that's setting up to start our week on Monday, there's just about to be some very fast-paced, perhaps unexpected, but there's just going to be some very fast-paced and motivated progress. Like things are going to start happening, changes are going to start being made. It's going to be like, these are kind of like unprecedented times and like very unconventional, untraditional energy that we're moving towards. I've been talking about this, a lot of people have been talking about this theme of like extreme novelty, hyper novelty that we are about to start moving towards, and that is definitely probably an element of the way that things are coming together for us this week. But let me tell you guys just all the aspects that we have playing out that are emphasizing the powerfully transformative nature of what's playing out right now generally. As we get this week started and as we come out of this full moon energy, number one, we have our once yearly opposition going on between the sun and Pluto. Like that in all of the energies of all of astrology, besides maybe the opposition between the sun and Saturn, like there's really no other aspect that brings up power struggles and like things really coming to a head, like these powerful confrontations that lead to some type of major systemic, perhaps like transformation, regeneration, ultimately something being solved, fixed, healed, and taken up to like another octave of expression and manifestation. But there is a very destructive force that is associated with the process of rebirth that is underway. When we're talking about Pluto, we're talking about death and rebirth. We're talking about power in all of its forms, and the sun, and it's also the lord of the underworld. And then we've got the sun, like the greatest source of light, right? So like there's likely to be some shadows, some things that have been going on under the surface that are seeing the light of day, that are being exposed, and this could be bringing some sort of like powerful forces to a head. But there's also like a very strong informational like questions and answers, like demanding answers for things component to this, and those answers that we receive firing us up in such a way that like things are going to start happening. This is a very assertive energy. This is a very masculine force oriented energy that we have going on right now. Courage, motivation, like the self on a mission to make something happen, to achieve something, to activate something, like motivation driving action. And the motivation that is driving that action is going to be based on answers, going to be based on information, going to be based on perspective or context or something, conversation, something that we are coming to understand that makes it so like we can't let this thing rest anymore. And as a result of that, like we are deciding to do something about it. This is when the decisions, you know, once you decide that you're going to do something, you're gonna do it. If you just want to do something, if you're just thinking about do something, if you just like would love to do something or just, you know, wish you would do something, that's when we generally like don't see that thing actually be able to make its way into manifestation, even if we have all of the best intentions to make it happen. It's not until we literally like decide with every fiber of our being that this is what's happening and I'm going to make this happen. That is really how we manifest very powerfully in this reality. Once we decide that we are going to do something, we're going to do it. Like that is the force that will see it through into fruition. And that is the energy that is accompanying us as we begin our week this week. So expect a lot of people to be at either like a breaking point or like a point of no return, or a point where they are taking matters into their own hands, or a point where they've decided that something is going to go a certain way, that they're going to accomplish something, that they're going to make something happen, and, you know, step back and watch them do it. Because this really is going to be action translated into like very powerful like effects that are happening in the world around us. So all of that. Did I say that I did a tarot reading for us today as well? I honestly don't remember if I said I did a tarot reading for us today or not, but I did do a tarot reading for us today, and that's going to be at the end if I didn't already say that. Anyways, I don't know why that just popped into my head. That was weird. Anyways, but the themes, okay, power, transformation, and oppositional forces. We're talking about, okay, so anyways, I was listing sorry, I just got myself all in some weird off track, random, disorganized thoughts. Okay, but now I'm back on track and I know where I was going. I wanted to tell you guys the transits that are happening. We have this Sun Pluto opposition, like I said, powerful, happening also at 0 degrees. 0 and 29 degrees of any sign. These are the critical degrees. These are, you know, some of the most, they are the most powerful degrees of that sign. It's the entrance energy into that sign and the energy of completion, having to do with all of the themes and everything that's gone on with that sign. So when we have energy that is activating at the 0 and the 29 degrees, it's like packing an extra punch. And that was another thing that was very powerful about the full moon in Capricorn that we are coming out of right now, was we had a plethora of planetary activity going on at both the 0 and the 29 degree marks, indicating endings and beginnings and some very powerful transitions that were underway. And that also is what we're moving into the energy of Monday with. We have the Sun, like I said, hitting 0 degrees of Leo, the Sun entering the sign of Leo. Pluto happens to be retrograde right now at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius, and that is where the opposition is occurring. So a Sun-Pluto opposition, like I said, is always one of the most powerful aspects in astrology for pitting things up against each other to the point of creating some type of breakthrough, transition, change, transformation somehow. But when we put it at the 0 degrees, it's even more powerful when we're talking about Aquarius and Leo right now, especially Aquarius in the context of what's been going on with Uranus, who rules that sign, and our, you know, shift of ages, transition into the age of Aquarius right now. Also Pluto on the precipice of beginning a 20-year Pluto Aquarius transit. We are entering the generation of Pluto in Aquarius right now, which is also empowering the Aquarian energy in a pretty like unique and different way. So for this opposition to be happening at 0 degrees, it is indicating like the utmost in what a Pluto-Sun opposition might bring us. And again, we're talking about the sign of Aquarius. It's functioning, you guys, to actually like empower the individual to rediscover themselves and through the self-empowerment actually find their true power, find their true purpose, and go through a phase of self-actualization associated with the incoming age of Aquarius right now that's going to play out over the next 20 years through our Pluto Aquarius generational transit, but also the next 2,000 years as we bridge into the age of Aquarius and this personal journey, okay, from identifying more with like our ego and our lower selves to identifying more with our higher selves and our cosmic spiritual awareness and spiritual connection and stuff like that, and our ability to co-create our reality. That is also a more subtle dynamic of the shift that is going on right now, what all this is boiled down to. And if you look, things playing out on the macrocosm level, on the world stage, and in our tangible material physical experiences, if you boil a lot of that down to like its core essence, it is synonymous with that very theme that I just said. So it's all working together. Like there's the energy right now is extremely purposeful in the changes and adjustments it's making to our own individual energy bodies so that we can actually help to create and anchor the shift of ages onto the planet right now. Humanity's going through a evolutionary upgrade on an energetic level that will be discernible and noticeable as we move throughout the course of the next couple hundred years. Of course, you know, while we're in this energy, it's very hard to see, well, I guess it depends on your personal perspective, but a lot of people won't be able to see it as it's happening. They won't be able to see it until we've gotten down the road and we look back and we realize how much we've changed. You know, it's like when you have small children and you're with them every day and you don't see the like incremental growth that is going on, but like people that don't see them every day, you know, only come around every couple of months, and just really it's very like blaringly obvious how much they've grown in that small period of time where, you know, somebody who's with them every day again, you know, like I said, may not have noticed. So I feel like that is sort of the way that the changes underway are happening right now. The people that are really paying attention are going to very palpably be able to discern. However, the majority of people are not going to truly see, you know, the progress that is being made in the like real grand scope of what is happening until we get like way further down the line. But we probably are going to be noticing the general weirdness that is playing out throughout the course of the week. And I do expect changes having to do or like centered around people in positions of power, authority figures going on this week with a 0-degree sun in the sign of Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun. This has to do with like emperors and kings and rulers and dynasties of power and the rich and famous and wealthy and stuff like that. Opposite Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. This on one hand is talking about I feel like sort of a transformation that is going to result in a return of the power to the people, but also the confrontational a force behind a Sun Pluto opposition. There could definitely be like vying, like two parties vying for power, like two individuals coming up against one another to see who is going to like be the dominant force in maintaining the power. Definitely like shifting power dynamics could be going on here, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then when we add into the Sun Pluto opposition happening at 0 degrees, the Mars, like the like octane rocket fuel of it all at 0 degrees, or Mars will be at 1 degree of Gemini by the time that we get to the energy of Monday. Mars has just entered Gemini, right in alignment with that powerful full moon in Capricorn that we had on Sunday. And now we've got Mars, 1 degree of Gemini, setting up a trine to Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. We talked about that component of that full moon energy that was playing out yesterday. And also Gemini and Leo are sextile to each other. Sextile, this is another facilitating, assisting aspect. Mars is helping out with the transformation that is actually reconnecting us to our own personal creative power and potential, being represented also by the confrontation that's going on. There could be some powerful internal confrontations also, like us confronting deeper layers of ourselves, like the battle of like the angel and the devil on the shoulder, you know what I mean? And like what side of us is going to win. This is a transition point between us like falling back into maybe like self-sabotaging patterns or behaviors or addictions or just like ego-based attachments and ways of like associating with ourself and stuff like that was keeping us connected to the lower dimensions of ourself and the higher self that is coming in right now and is like pulling us forward, and that is like awakening within us. And between, you know, as above so below, right, I've been talking about this spiritual battle that is also underway between essentially like the lower dimensional energy associated with the age of Pisces that we are exiting right now and the dark ages that we are exiting right now, and this new essentially like golden age era that we are moving towards on a greater scale over the course of like the upcoming many thousands of years. We're heading back into a cycle of light, and our entrance into the age of Aquarius is really bridging us and taking us and, you know, progressing us in that direction as the cosmic blueprint unfolds at this particular period of time. And so in terms of like the greater spiritual battle underway, like we're moving to an age of the light. The light is preordained to win this one, cosmically speaking, at least the way that all of this is presenting. And then when that comes, like when we translate that or extrapolate it from the macro down to the micro, that also translates into what's going on inside of us and our internal environment, and that inner battle between like the angel and the demon, right? And this is the point in time when we stop listening to the lower dimensional parts of ourselves, and where we, you know, win the war within to like overcome, to release ourselves from anything that has been holding us back or keeping us attached to that which would distract us or detach us or keep us in a state of illusion in terms of the truth of our own power, our own potential, and our own higher purpose, which is what this Aquarius energy is awakening us to. We call it the Great Awakening. That's where we're at. That's what what's going on right now. And in our personal lives, on a personal individual level, that translates into us awakening to our own higher nature and no longer wanting to betray ourselves in the context of what we know we could, who we know we could be and become, and therefore reaching for more, okay, as we all go through this process of personal upgrade right now. And it's this whole big story that we talk about in bits and pieces as we move through our days and weeks on this channel, but we're at yet again another very powerful activation along those lines that is causing us, I feel like I was started talking about this because I was saying that is another way that this energy could operate. It might not just be these powerful power plays and stuff going on the world stage or in the world around us or in our experience. It could also very much be happening within us, and we could be sort of at a critical turning point in and of ourselves as well, where we're going to stop doing, being, feeling, and thinking certain ways as we maybe go through some type of eye-opening experience or learn something new, or just feel a sense or something changing within us that is causing us to want to go in this new direction. And that's where we're at. And again, right now, this is the time for fixing old problems. We just had a Mars-Uranus conjunction as well. This is the time for being the conscious force of initiating and activating change in our own lives. This is the time to answer the call, to heed the call of the soul. If you hear it ringing, like, this is the time where we have to answer. And the more we are able to face the changes that need to happen and to choose to make the progress, to choose to be the force of initiating change in our own experience, the more things are going to fall into place for us, the less resistance you will feel as we move through this very uncertain, unpredictable, unstable, novel, but imperative and significant and transformational and foundational period of time that we are moving through now. So this is the time to let go of the past. This is the time to start doing things a new way. This is time to reinvent yourself for sure. Like Pluto at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius retrograding. This is the time of self-reinvention, you guys. And as I said, the more that we get in alignment with what the universe is already doing, the more supported we're going to be in our processes, because that is what universe is already doing. It's like if you get on the wavelength that's already going in a certain direction, you're going to go in that direction. But if you try to jump on a wavelength and like go the opposite direction that the momentum is going in, of course you're going to face challenges and obstacles and issues and things and problems and hardship and all of that, like every 5 seconds, as you're like going against the flow of where the momentum is carrying us right now. So if we get in alignment with the momentum, and Mars is the self, you guys, this is the energy of the self. If we act out what this energy is asking for us, like I said, it's just, you're going to be supported in your process and you're going to face less resistance. So, you know, Mars in a trine and in a sextile to the Pluto Sun opposition in the sign of Gemini as well. This is information. This is what we're finding out. This is the questions that we're asking, the answers that we're demanding right now with that Mars assertiveness behind it. That is going to cause the confrontations, that is going to cause the destruction, perhaps. This is death and rebirth energy, but that will ultimately cause the healing and the regeneration and the evolution going on in some very powerful ways as well. This opposition only happens once a year between the Sun and Pluto, and look at it right after we had that second Capricorn full moon. So this week's themes being highlighted, what still needs to be destroyed in order so that we can truly grow. Pluto opposite the Sun. Pluto's going to retrograde back into Capricorn soon. I do think as Pluto backs up into the sign of Capricorn, this is kind of going to be like the final wrecking ball, the final demolition of any belief systems or systems of control that are still standing in the way of the rebirth and awakening that need to happen on this collective level right now as we are transitioning into the age of Aquarius, and it is just time. So this, I feel like, you know, these are the things that are going to be demolished, transformed, and regenerated. And this is also what might be like coming into the crosshairs today, coming up against maybe a powerfully confrontational force of change that could be significant somehow in our week. Big moves are being made this week. I definitely do believe, centered of course around endings and beginnings, changing power dynamics, unexpected news and announcements. What another really interesting feature of the energy that's playing out this week is that we also have a very tight Mercury Uranus square in the signs of Leo and Taurus. Of course, Uranus in the sign of Taurus, we know all about that, and Mercury in the sign of Leo right now. This could be jarring, honestly, revving people up, but with Mercury's ruling the position of Mars in the trine to Pluto and in the sextile to the Sun. So this is why I'm saying, like, Mars is in Gemini, right? And Mercury's in a square to Uranus. Mars just conjoined Uranus. Something about, like, there's going to be some type of unsettling or disturbing information having to do perhaps with what went on with that Mars-Uranus conjunction mid-July that is acting as this like motivation, this fuel, this like octane for some type of like explosive transformation or change that is going on right now. Like, it really is all fitting together. It's like Mars in the sign of Gemini. This is the information, okay? But Mercury, who rules that information, is in a square to Uranus at the same degree where Mars conjoined Uranus that brought, you know, any like unexpected events that happened on or around July 15th. So the nature of the information is having to do directly with any type of unsettling or unexpected or shocking events that occurred or that are occurring, and the like mental reaction to that. And then with Mars there, like what we're actually doing. Mars is our action, Mars is our behavior, Mars is like what's happening. So we're talking about like what's actually happening as a result of maybe shocking or unsettling information that is acting as a catalyst for like whatever it is that we're doing, okay? And then what are we doing? Like powerfully asserting ourselves or fighting back or demanding answers or standing up somehow, like rebellion, revolution, these powerful confrontations and power struggles and battles of will and stuff with the Sun and Pluto in their opposition. Of course, Pluto's in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus as well. So the transformations represented by the Plutonic energy, the power represented by the Plutonic energy is also tied into the unexpected events that have happened and the conversations or the information or the narrative that has resulted, and how that is fueling whatever actions are occurring or whatever change is happening right now. So, you know, it could definitely be a bit like unsettling, but people are going to be probably revved up, and there is just this powerful force that is driving this action, demanding answers, as I said, information and truth in a way that is going to continue to increase for the rest of the summer and into the fall. With Mars in the sign of Gemini right now, who else do we have in the sign of Gemini? We've got Jupiter in Gemini, you guys. Jupiter rules truth, Jupiter rules freedom, Jupiter is the big picture and the higher perspective. With Mars there, this is like driven, okay, to seek answers, driven to seek truth, driven to seek freedom. As we this is going to be a period of time that we are moving towards now, and that we are moving like into come the fall, where the primary motivation causing people to act, causing things to happen, is going to be seeking the truth, is going to be getting an answer, figuring things out, gaining a broader understanding, really being able to see the overall perspective or the bigger story of what's been going on and what's been unfolding here. So we are entering a period of time where truth and seeking truth is going to be the primary motivating force behind actions and behind what people are doing. There's going to be a major attraction to and passion for knowing the whole story about things, seeing the bigger picture, and just really feeling like we have figured something out and then doing something with it. It's not just and with Mars in the sign of Gemini, it's not just the like informational component of things. It's not just receiving the information, but Mars is the active initiating force. It's like we're getting the information, but then like, what are we doing about it? And there is also probably going to be a lot more verbal disputes, a lot more like battling, conflicting narratives, like information wars going on out there. I would expect to see, you know, some pretty extreme polarization going on, two sides that kind of have these like irreconcilable differences, and again, just like a powerful force of confrontation that could be quite expansive. And again, though, it ultimately will show us the bigger picture and the whole story about something somehow. So energy is likely to be extremely high today and moving through the rest of the summer. While I do think as we move through the week, there is going to sort of be like a release in the pressure valve that comes as we wane out of this full moon energy, like I've been saying. Mars preparing to move into a conjunction with Jupiter is going to maintain a level of elevated energy as we move forward. So again, this is a very, very powerful time to get things done. Like I'm telling you, a lot of people also are probably going to be, for whatever reason, finding that this is when they are fixing things or when they're getting things done that maybe they couldn't just resolve for a long time for some reason, especially with Pluto retrograde. This is going to be solving problems and fixing things from the past that have been core root foundational issues that are getting like healed, resolved, solved once and for all somehow. Extremely high energy this week, willpower, will to act, courage, strength, as I've said like a million times, demanding answers, fighting for truth and transformation. General vibe. Shocking upsets, especially in terms of information, disturbing the peace, upsetting the comfort zone, could definitely implicate financial markets. When we're talking about Uranus in the sign of Taurus being squared by Mercury in the sign of Leo, this also could have to do, again, with like these powerful people, rich and famous, big money, rulers, influencers, elites, celebrities, kings, some type of information having to do with them somehow causing perhaps some type of financial disturbance or having to do with financial issues, or there could just be like financial issues that we are getting information about that are causing a sense or a state of like uncertainty or unsettledness somehow. But with Mercury and Leo, we got this Leo energy, this Taurus energy, something to do, you know, it could be also like these changing, shifting power dynamics that are going on right now, or the changes in leadership. Like I said, there could definitely be changes in like people in positions of authority that are taking place this week, and that could also be like upsetting financial markets or something like that. Or there could just be, I don't know, it could go the other way as well. There could be like things happening in financial markets, the information about that is taking people out of certain positions of power or something. I don't know. Or it could literally just be like interruptions of power could be going out as well. Story time. I actually got interrupted in this video and I had to shut off the video midway through the video because I had an electrician that happened to show up with an issue that I had to deal with. Came right in the middle of when I was trying to talk and explain this information. An electrician having to do with energy. That would be Uranus energy, here to fix something on my property, shows up. That would be the sign of Taurus, while I'm Mercury and Leo, trying to put on a little show for you guys and communicate the energy, be the messenger, communicate the energy that's coming through. So that's a perfect example of exactly what Mercury and Leo squaring Uranus and Taurus might do as well. I've literally been chuckling to myself about it for like, you know, and another thing I'm going to say as we get through this report, which I haven't mentioned yet, is that disruptions, annoyances, frustrations, irritations, disturbances, noises, things that won't leave you alone and are like driving you crazy are also likely to be just like a part of the way the energy is going on right now. So the more that we can kind of set ourselves up with the expectation of having to deal with interferences and stuff, the probably more smoothly we will move through the energy, at least like on an internal emotional level as well. Which I'll probably say again in a little while because I had written that down more at the end of my report. But I'm glad that I put myself in that frame of mind today, or else I would have been extremely annoyed about having to get interrupted in the middle of this video to deal with that. And because I like knew, I was like, oh, well, this is what I'm talking about. This is what's going on. That's probably what's going to happen to me. And then bing, 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 there it went. So I, instead of like getting super irritated about it, I've just been kind of giggling about it. And that also I feel like is the best way to go, because instead I'm just like, oh, look at astrology playing out nicely. Isn't that funny? And it's just like, you know what? It'll get done when it gets done. If it takes a little longer, it'll take a little longer. That's the nature of the energy right now. So I was planning on talking about that at the end, and I probably will, because everybody here knows how much I love to repeat myself over and over. But there's that also. So it could, you know, this energy could manifest like that as well. There could literally be like the power going out, or like you could have to stop everything that you're doing in the middle of trying to do a presentation to go deal with an electrician. Mercury squaring Uranus, or it could also be like really shocking information or something that causes, you know, some type of upset and leads to some type of change. Oh, and just to add like another layer, like I can bring my electrician story like into the bigger picture, adding more aspects to the astrology as well. I'll tell you guys, this issue that I'm having to have this electrician guy come for is something that's been like an ongoing issue for like a very long period of time. I've already tried, I called an electrician last week or the week before, and he scheduled me 3 times and canceled it on me 3 times, and I've like not been able to get somebody to come out here. The only reason this guy came out here today, I called this morning, and I figured that when I called this morning, because it's a Friday when I'm recording this, that they wouldn't send anybody out till next week. But the guy was like, oh, there's somebody right over in that area. I'll be able to come out sometime this afternoon. So I was like, oh, okay, great. But anyways, this is like an issue that's been going on for a long period of time, and there's no electricity going somewhere where there needs to be electricity going. And so just now, as I'm recording this video, I got Mercury square Uranus, Leo and Taurus interrupted in my presentation to solve an electrical problem on the property, but Mars trining, or Pluto, and the sun, it's going to get solved this time. The problem's actually going to get fixed, and I'm not going to have to deal with it anymore. And you know what's even more funny? The guys couldn't fix it today because of like another issue when they came out, so they're going to have to come back on next Tuesday, which is actually, this video is for Monday and Tuesday. So actually, like that whole little thing is actually playing into when this video is going to be released. So there's some behind the scenes footage in terms of how the astrology happens to be playing out, specifically in terms of my exact situation right now, and how that perhaps could be an example for something that you also might see and experience as we move through this energy. So, getting back in alignment with my notes right now, we also have the moon transiting the sign of Aquarius as we are opening our week this week. Of course, that's emphasizing the Uranian energy as well. Of course, that's emphasizing the Pluto in Aquarius energy as well. And the moon is going to be trining Jupiter. It's also going to be opposing Venus. I do think generally this week, whatever change is going on, whatever is happening, whatever people are talking about, they're generally going to be like doing it for the right reasons, at least in like their perception and interpretation of things. We may or may not agree, but people, I do think, are for the most part going to be following their hearts and doing what they believe to be right according to their like current level of like perception of situations and all of that. So I think people are going to generally be well intentioned, but with the Aquarian moon, also like things and the trine to Jupiter, like things are just probably gonna get weird, probably maybe be strange, bizarre, untraditional, unconventional, definitely unpredictable, maybe a bit like unavoidable as well, and probably a bit unsettling, quite counter to whatever the expectation of how our week or this summer, this period of time generally might originally have been. It's also enhancing, of course, the rebellion and the revolutionary energy that is hypercharged present right now as well. So it does, like, I'm sorry, with a 0 degree Pluto opposite a sun at 0 degrees of Leo, Mercury squaring Uranus, moon in Aquarius, like there is definitely like an air of revolution or rebellion that is kind of just really saturating the energetic field right now. Do not expect people to be falling in line. Do not expect people to just be like following the rules without questioning things. Very unlikely. More likely, people are going to be asking questions, demanding answers, demanding change. I will say though, this is a very, very amazing energy for figuring out what's been going on under the surface, what's been festering under the surface and causing like general system failures. Again, coming back to like my little scenario I have going on here, figuring out what is causing the power not to be going to where it's going to. Finally gonna get to the bottom of that with Pluto is 0 degrees of Aquarius in a trine to Mars. See, I just think it's very funny how that works out, but it's like cleaning out the closet vibes, you know, looking under the hood, asking questions, and actually fixing or solving like long-lived problems. With Pluto retrograde, this is generally going to be things from the past that are coming back up now, and probably also like quite foundational, or just like it's the core, it's the baseline. This is like the root issue of things is what we're getting to the bottom of here. Repairing the engine. Definitely, I bet a lot of people are getting like car repairs and stuff going on this week as well, because Mars and Pluto together always make me think of like the engine of a car, especially when we got Uranus in there. Pew, this lightning, there could be like rockets and stuff like that are big news or something this week. Put your energy into fixing things though, you guys. Like I said, solving problems, not power plays and ego battles. We want to put our money where our mouth is this week, the pedal to the metal, and make progress happen for ourselves. We want to use the energy and the information that we gain this week productively to drive ourselves forward, to make progress, and not to let it drive us crazy. Another thing that I meant to say at the beginning of this video, I will tell you, I honestly was a little bit like distracted at the beginning of the video because I had a feeling that those electrician guys might show up, and I was like trying to be like in the zone and everything, but like in the back of my mind I was like having like a little bit of a lookout, and I forgot to say some of the stuff that I originally meant to say. But the sun is at 0 degrees of the sign of Leo, right? In the opposition to Pluto and Aquarius. That Sabian symbol is under emotional stress, blood rushes to a man's head. Okay, so and with all of this like very powerful peak energy that we have going on right now, coming out of the full moon, 0 degree sun Pluto opposition, the Gemini Mars energy, that is definitely blood rushing to the head. People could be very, very hot-headed, and again though, it's like this fire being lit under us that is fueling people, causing people to like really want to launch forward in some type of ways, but it could also really be making people crazy. It's a very powerful week to get to the bottom of things. Like I said, blockages. There could also be, and here we are in my notes arriving at this point, a very annoying level of distractions and interference. Like I was bringing up earlier, the small things that are like taking us off task that can be like a large source of frustration and irritation. There could be like noises and interruptions that won't stop in like very inopportune moments, people not leaving us alone, just tons of chatter and stuff like that, calls and text messages that are distracting. Also like clutter or small items or small tasks being a nuisance or like getting in the way of whatever we've got going on. Could also have to do with children off their schedule or just like overflowing with energy and stuff, or like questions that are keeping us distracted or like keeping us from being able to like stay on task or on track somehow. This could also be traffic or cars or like lines or people literally like standing in front of you just like not getting out of the way. It makes me think of like going to the grocery store and like you've got a list of things that you need to get, and like everywhere that you pull up your cart to like get what you need, there's someone standing there right in front of exactly what you need, like painstakingly reading the labels on like everything that they're about to purchase, and you're just like oh my god, like I can't move forward, I can't, you know what I mean? Like there's just like these little, and you're like on a time frame, you're like I don't have time for this, or just like hitting every red light and stuff like that. Like that's another vibe that I just feel like with the Mars element here, like little things, Gemini's all the little things that could just be causing some type of interruptions or irritations or interference that is going on that is just like really annoying us. And that's why I was saying also mentally preparing for these interruptions or these distractions or these interferences, like expecting maybe to be annoyed on some level this week. It can actually, on one hand, you know, maybe like even energetically offset the interference by anticipating it, sort of like the pendulum effect, you know what I mean? Like when you are running super late and you need to be there at a certain time, and therefore you are automatically going to hit every single red light and get behind all of the slowest people. But if you got nowhere to be and you're just out for a Sunday drive, you get every green light and there's like no interference or blockage in your path at all. There's literally like energetic pendulums out there that I feel like we can get caught in along those lines. Like when we really like need or want something to happen, or we have a certain expectation, that is when we are likely to come up against like the counter force. So if we kind of like set ourselves up to make sure we give ourselves enough time to anticipate the interruptions, to know, you know, then we're sort of setting ourselves up for hitting all the green lights, just because we've kind of like removed that energetic pendulum that would cause oppositional forces like I've been talking about to sort of come together. So, you know, again, consciously doing things in a way to flow with the energy instead of working against it, probably beneficial. Very weird, powerful, and transformative energy this week if we are to summarize. On Tuesday, the moon moving through Aquarius will come into a square with Uranus. This is more of the same vibe. Also will square Mars in the sign of Gemini. This could bring conflict over ideas, beliefs, information, especially could be in regards to like home, family, siblings perhaps. Conflict over avoidance also of truth and information. Escaping reality. I am telling you guys, there could be a lot of issues that go on over people refusing to accept like the legitimate state of things and wanting to maintain or perpetuate some type of an illusion, hide from reality, hide from the truth, that is like bringing things to a point where just like there's got to be something that gives, something that changes, something that goes on. Cognitive dissonance, projection, mental health issues under emotional stress. We've literally got the position of the sun talking about it. Under emotional stress, blood rushes to a man's head. Well, we've got Mars at the very beginning of Gemini and a trine to Pluto. Yes, people are going to be losing it. People are going to be going mad, going crazy, trying to process the information that is coming to them right now. And as I said, you know, we don't want to allow ourselves to fall into that category. We want to channel this energy for productive change, creating productive change in our lives, and use the information that we are finding to move ourselves forward somehow. We want to release the past, even if it's what we've always believed, because I'm telling you guys, like, there are truths that we never could have fathomed that are going to start coming into context right now. because you got to understand, like, as we move forward, as we move more into this Aquarian energy, there's going to be like ultimately, you know, 50, 60, 100 years down the road, we'll really start talking about it more and more, but there's going to be sort of like a new belief system that arises surrounding the cosmic nature of our reality and the universe and, you know, God and heaven, all of that. Like, our belief systems around those lines and themes are going to change somehow. And we're going to start to learn things, and we're going to start to see the past in ways that are really like mind-blowing. And so, you know, people could be getting a little taste and a little touch of that and literally like having their mind blown and having to deal with how to accept things and wrap their head around things, or, you know, what, or also experience what happens when we won't accept things and embrace the denialism and the path that will take us down at this point in time too. Like, there's a finding out the truth, right? The conflict over deception and honesty going on, and like the huge pull right now, all the momentum is towards truth, honesty, integrity, and the big picture thinking as this catalyst for powerful change, with Mars now coming into a conjunction with Jupiter, moving throughout the rest of the summer. Ignorance was bliss, but now consciousness is king. Like, that is also the shift. Like, that's a really good little like catchphrase or thesis statement describing what this energy, where we've been and where we're going. Ignorance was bliss in the age of Pisces. As we move into the age of Aquarius, consciousness is king, the age of understanding, the age of self-actualization, the age of cosmic expansion. Okay, so we will know the truth. The shadows will be exposed here. It's going to open up a lot of this unexpected, unanticipated, unpredicted opportunity, a lot of this novelty, a lot of this unprecedented stuff that is going on. And this is the vibe, and this is the ride that we're on this week, you guys, as we prepare to come down to an extent from the emotional tension that has been carrying us throughout the course of the last month. Like I said, energy levels are still going to remain high and actually probably continue to increase. If you've got projects to work on, you are going to notice probably a huge boost in energy and productivity over the course of the rest of the summer. However, the building sense of like that anticipation, that feeling that something is going to happen, that generalized unease, the anxiety, like increased levels of panic and like an inability to rest and relax and stuff like that, that is going to start simmering down as we move through the week. And we are going to find ourselves in a place where we are really ready to launch forward in some big time change, or that there's just big time changes that are happening all around us, and we are at a point in time where we are ready to embrace that. So all of that, now let's talk about the tarot for a minute. It's a very similar message to what we've been getting the past couple of days. Actually, I've got like basically the same set of the same like sequence of cards keeps coming out. This is the third day in a row that this particular sequence of cards and a lot of these same collective themes, also a lot of major arcanas, are coming up. Now, I will tell you guys, we got two cards, and then we got like a little set of a separate cards, then we've got cards on the back of the deck, and those are all the ones that I'm looking at in the context of this particular interpretation. There's something going on here about being perhaps like humbled by experience, or like everything that we've been through bringing us to a point where we actually are no longer experiencing the same level of inner conflict as we may have been in the past in our ability to keep moving forward somehow. It's sort of making me feel like, you know, we may have really been like fighting to make progress, to make something happen, to get somewhere. And it may have felt like just like a never ending battle, or like we were working against ourselves somehow, or there could be like internalized mental conflicts going on, or even people that we felt like were stealing our power or standing in our way or keeping us from being able to like that we were constantly just having to come up against and, you know, push forward and push forward and push forward. But now it seems like we're coming to a point where it's like what we've been through, the wisdom that we've gained through experience, is it's like humbling us on some level, or it's helping us to like drop the inner conflict and to simply pursue the path ahead without fighting ourselves anymore, or without feeling like we need to prove something. It's like we're doing it now because we know we're going to get there eventually, not because we need to prove something to someone. And that's another thing, like our motives could be changing somehow in terms of where it is that we think we're going, or where we desire to go, or what we're building right now. And I'm saying that because we've got the 5 of Swords in reverse, and we've also got the 9 of Wands here. So this is about like the relentless pursuit of something and not being willing to give up. However, also like not allowing, you know, it could also be like negative thoughts, self-doubt, like the inner conflict to be an impediment to our success anymore. Like we're going to keep moving forward, and we're going to do so now without, from a more empowered place, I guess we could say. And it's interesting because I keep getting the same series and set of cards coming out. We've got the Empress, the Emperor, the 3 of Coins, and the 4 of Coins, all in reverse. An element of what, like the conflict that we're dropping within, or like the self-sabotage that we are overcoming, or the negative self-talk maybe, or even like the external circumstances that have been stealing our power somehow. It has to do with the way that we've been working with like our own energy, or the way that we've been working with other people, or the people that we've been giving power to, or our own inability to see our own creative power and our own ability to manifest and create going on within us. It's like we haven't been working with ourselves properly, or the people that we have been working with have not been supporting us in like our ability to produce or create something. And we may have been holding on to it because maybe that felt safe, or maybe that felt secure, or maybe that's what we always knew, or maybe that we genuinely believed like that was the blueprint to our growth. But this is also saying like we have to release that. Like we have to release any sentiment or any attachment to some type of work dynamic or building dynamic that is coming from distorted feminine and masculine energy, or that is coming from an inversion of the creative energy and our own personal power flowing within us. Anywhere that we have been disempowered and not able to create because of who we've been working with perhaps, or just the way that these energies have been working internally within us, is at a release point. Because if we continue to hold on to it, we're just not going to make any progress going forward. And then on the back of the deck, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, we've got the Tower, and like it just keeps going. We've got the Hangman, we've got the Tower, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, we've got the 8 of Pentacles, and we've got the Temperance. Like all of these major arcana. And we had the Empress and the Emperor in reverse. It's like the Hangman, this is the Wheel of Fortune, this is like a fated perspective shift. And then the Tower, obviously like some type of upset or sudden change or awakening, but it's bringing us to a place of self-mastery. Like we're realizing the 8 of Pentacles, to me, this is about how we work on ourselves, or what we're working on very diligently, but it has connotations of the process of cultivating and developing the sense of self-mastery, working on the self. And then we've got the Temperance card. Like this is where the balance comes from. We need to stop giving our power away externally. We need to focus on the self. We need to work on ourselves. We need to put our resources into ourselves and into building ourselves. This is actually what is going to rebalance things for us, which is going to remove the distortions and the blockages to growth, so that this 9 of Wands right here cannot be something that we're like perpetually striving for or to attain, but something that we have manifested and something that we have actually brought to fruition and tangible completion. So that's what I have to say about the tarot today, you guys. Again, it comes down to what we're letting go of right now, what we're fixing on these core issues within us that maybe have been causing these systemic failures and keeping us like on a hamster wheel of work and work and work and work, but not experiencing maybe the tangible results from that. It is coming from a need to release. And again, it could be like the people that we've been working with, or even maybe we also need to like alter what we're working towards to some extent, if it is not in alignment, like with some type of like authentic truth or authentic purpose or authentic like seed of creation that is trying to come into fruition within us. You know what I mean? Like if you're working and working and working and working on building a square, but like you're meant to build a circle, like you're definitely supposed to be building a circle, but you won't stop working on the square, that square is probably never going to get you where you want it to get to, because that's not what you're supposed to be working on. Like you're supposed to be working on a circle, and maybe if you just like round those edges a little bit, you'll start to see a little bit more momentum and progress. And maybe like if you refine it more, and then suddenly you've got this circle and everything is opening up for you, and you're like, oh, it's because I was always meant to be working on the circle. So I don't know, you guys. That's that. All right, let's get a synchronicity card. God, Spirit, Universe. One more piece of guidance, advice, inspiration that maybe we could use as we are moving through our week, through this very powerful time in our experience. We've got two cards that came out. The first one says, don't fight it. And we've also got, God will guide you. Another thing, divine intervention, divine alignment, divine assistance. This is also very prominent in terms of the things that are transpiring right now. So we need to have faith. We really, really need to trust the process that is unfolding before us. Okay, don't fight it. Release those subject to bondage. Hebrews 2:15. Whatever type of restriction or bondage you find yourself experiencing, don't fight against it mentally. No, God will open up a new door for you and lead you to peace and freedom. So we're surrendering to the process that are underway. And number 2, God will guide you. He who overcomes shall inherit all things. Overcomes, right? This is exactly what I was saying with that tarot message. Revelation 20:14. Be a channel for the good of God. Let life, love, harmony, and understanding of God flow through you. Praise God in the midst of you and know every problem is solved by God. When disharmony, discord, or disappointment appear, be assured God is guiding you through it and will reveal the way to achieve your goals. So we just need to stay the course, you guys. Like I said, this is the time where we are reawakening to the truth of ourselves. We can't fight the process. We are in very strong Uranian energy right now. Tower moments abound. When we're in Uranian energy, a lot of times things seem a lot more disastrous on the surface than they actually are. But like when the dust settles and, the smoke clears and everything, things are actually in a better state than they were to begin with. But going through that process a lot of times can seem quite chaotic. So God will guide you. Don't fight it. We have reached the transition point and things are about to start changing. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would like this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I am so grateful for your presence here. What you have to say is very valuable to me. I really appreciate knowing what's going on with you guys out there. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of that. You can find that in my description box below, and come back with me. I think I'm only doing 2 videos this week, you guys. I got off. I had some things come up and I got a little bit off schedule. So in order to get back on schedule, I can only do 2 videos this week. So the next one is I will skip the Wednesday video. The next one will be the Friday video. And I mean, really, this is the wave, as I said, the wave and the ride that we're on all week is the energy that I've been talking about in this video. So we will pick back up on Friday, you guys. I will be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you next time, everybody. Have a really beautiful start to your week. And until then, bye guys.